As close on time as possible. First of all, I want to thank you all for making it out today. Coming and sharing this space together. That's all it is. It's a space that we're going to share. And as we've learned, sharing is caring. And I think that it's time for all of us to care and to share what we have been through. So I'm very thankful for that. If you're looking at this T-shirt, the T-shirt said, "Y'all exhale and man inhale." If you listen to my lessons on Wednesday, Sunday, and Wednesday, I'll tell you how this came about. I taught the message. Well, Joanne also does Hebrew studies. So when I taught the message, she said, "You know, Jill, that's a real thing." I said, "Okay." I was just telling people God breathed out, you breathed in, and that meant something. But it means a lot more than that. When in Hebrew tradition and thought, when they talk about love, that's why it says God breathed, Yah, exhale, men, inhale, and love came. So that's what they would say. They would tell you that when God breathed breath into you, that was a gift. And when you exhale, that's a gift. And that's a gift of your devotion to God. You give back to God what he gave to you. So I won't talk a bunch about that. I'll just talk about these T-shirts. When Joanne showed them to me, I said, "Great, make me one." I want one. These are Hebrew letters for love. Some of you may know this and some of you may not know that in Hebrew, every letter is a word. It's not just a letter. So these are not just 4 letters. It's actually 4 words. In Hebrew, when we say 10 commandments, they will call it the 10 words because they were words, but that's another story. So anyway, I think Joanne has a few of these T-shirts that I thank Van for making them for us in a short amount of time. But I think it's really important that we understand what it means to exhale and what it really means to God, because that's how you give back. Exhale means you have received something and now you're returning it and you're giving back. So what you're attending today is my exhale. It is my give back to God for all that he's done. So I called these women, Angela, come on up, and Shamir, please come on up, and Gail, please come on up. And I said, "Can y'all help me?" So it was so funny. I asked them the same day I said, "Send me a picture." I said, "Shamir, I already have a picture of you. Send me a picture." On that same day, I had that flyer done, because I do my own flyers. I had that flyer done. She said, "That was fast," because I am giving back to God the gift of life. Just take your seats, anyone. The gift of life that he has given me. And then the person that's going to help me moderate, this is such a special day, is my mother-in-law. Where's Carol Cloud? Come on up, Carol Cloud. I was supposed to call Sharif and tell Sharif, look at here. Cloud and Cloud, how did that happen? That's what I'm telling you. Y'all exhale, I inhale, and he blew you up here. So I'm really thankful for all that we're going to be able to do and all that they have to share with you. So with all that said, we're going to begin. Let me put my glasses on. I saw Kayana and I said, "Oh, so you turned 38 now. You're wearing glasses. You beat me." It took me a while longer. Whose is that? Shamir? Yes. Oh, okay. You got nice legs. I don't know why you covering up. I cover up. That's because I don't have. But anyway, you can look in your folders. We have an agenda there. So you'll get to see how this is going to go. But this is where I start. It's just one of my favorite. It's my beginnings now. I've done this long enough to know where change begins. And change begins, and as some of us was talking, let me stay to the side. Change begins when we challenge our own beliefs about things. And as women, beliefs have to be challenged. because the world has told us for so long as women how we are supposed to be, no matter how we felt. And some of us stayed in things too long. Some of us never even chose those things in the first place. And in order for you to really come into who you really are, you really do have to feel your own feelings and think your own thoughts. You have to. You have to. So we're here today because maybe unconsciously or for whatever reason, I'll just say that's just the way it was. We were out of touch with how we really felt, out of touch with how we really think. And when you do that, you're out of touch with you. I shared with them, there's a song. It's an old one. I like oldies. And it's by the Montclairs. I know y'all have never heard of these people. Montclairs. And the song is Make Up for Lost Time. And he's talking to a woman, and he's just saying that somehow, you know, the weeks turned into months, and the months turned into years, and how through it all, in terms of the separation, they had shed so many tears. And then he said something like they had to kind of go somewhere to other people to find out that actually they belong here. They belong with each other. So the second verse is probably my favorite, because what it says is, and this is what I sing to me in the mirror. Even though he was talking about a woman, but he still talking about making up for lost time. And I sing to me, and it says this: I looked everywhere, trying to find the likes of you, but none of them could come close to loving me like you do. I don't know what you got, but furthermore, I don't care. What's important now is that you're here. So, Jill, we got to make up for lost time. For all the time we lost when we was apart. For all the time I lost when I wasn't thinking my own thoughts and feeling my own feelings. For all the time I tried to live disconnected from myself and thought somehow I was going to be able to do that. So now I'm at this point. God, I've done a lot of inhaling, but I got a lot of exhaling to do. And it's so funny. I'm supposed to do this last, but let me tell you how hard my exhale is. These are all the flyers I did this week. That means these are all the things I said I was going to do. Authentic Women Conference, November 8th through the 9th, 2019. Young Soldiers event, August 10th through 11th. Ayana Gregory will be there to do Who Must You Be. It's a wonderful piece. Don't miss it. And guess who's going to host with me? Young Soldiers. Guess who's going to host Ayana? Listen, I wish somebody had done that for me. I wish somebody had put me in a room with somebody that I admired and I respected on that level and gave me the opportunity to hone my leadership skills. This came by trial and error. That means, you know, there's some bloody bodies on the side somewhere when I didn't know any better. Then we have coming up what I call our next move. I started a life-changing leadership series. Every month, we'll do something on leadership. Where did that come from for me? That came from Revelations 22, where the writer of that, I'll say John, is talking about life and what life is like after we go through the tribulation. After that point, and he's talking about it. And this we said about the tree of life. He said every month there will be a new fruit on the tree of life, and the leaves from that fruit will be for the healing of the nation. So guess what my aha moment is? God got plenty of fruit in this room. And every month, somebody other than me is going to come up and do leadership as God leads them. Because he said the healing, those leaves will heal the nation. He chose fruit for every month. He said every month there'll be a new one. Every month, to me, there'll be another revelation. Every month, he will use somebody with a gift. So we're setting all that up with our life-changing leadership series. Why is that? Because if this world is going to change, then we got to exhale. If we have inhaled the life and the breath of God, we have to exhale. The last one is our women's ministry. It's a door. It stands for Adonai's Daughters of Resilience Emerging. Adonai is another name for God. Why did they come up with Adonai? Because they were so respectful of God, not to say the word God, that they made up a name. That's how the Jews were. They said, listen, we are not worthy to speak your name. That's why if you see when they write God, they write G, and they don't write the O, and then they write the D. They'll put a little dash or underscore, because they say, we're not worthy to speak your name. So we're gonna do this name, Adonai. That way, we won't offend you, God, by acting like we are too familiar with you. So that's what that's going to be about. So there's a whole lot going on. And I don't think I'm going to be the only one or the last one that God is going to speak to do some things. So I am thankful that God has allowed me to exhale and to do what we're going to do here. I'll talk a little bit about the women's part when we get towards the end, but I want to get this started. So here we go. So with these ladies, I asked them some questions, and I asked my mother-in-law to moderate this, just in case I have to jump in, and I don't have to try to do two things at the same time.
Praise God. Feel really, really, really blessed to be here before you. And I've already prayed a couple of days before coming that God would do something right here in this breakfast that he's never done before. And so I'm asking him to allow me to be a vehicle for that, and the ladies to be a vehicle for that, so that when we share, we're sharing from who we are and sharing from what we've gone through, as some of you've gone through. So the word that I keep coming up with is Jill's word, agreement and vision. And one of the very first things she gave was a scripture in Proverbs 29:18. Would you look at that? Where there is no revelation, the people cast off restraint, but blessed is he who keeps the law. Now, King James reads, where there is no what?
Vision.
The people what? But blessed is he who keeps the law. Now, what's interesting is the way the Message Bible puts it. And I'm going to read that to you. If people can't see God, what God is doing, they stumble all over themselves.
Oh, that's a good one.
But then they attend to what he reveals. But when they attend to what he reveals, they are more blessed. So, it's trying to help us understand through everything we're going through, we got to see God. Through everything you go through the heartache, through the pain, through trouble, through disappointment, through anxieties, through the complaints. The most important thing in that, to be blessed, you got to see God. You got to have that vision in front of you all the time. I recall once my mom had said to me, and when I read that scripture again, it came back to me, and that was, she used to tell me when I guess I was in my early 20s, and she would say, you got to see certain things with your eye. You got to actually see it. What you're trying to do, where you're trying to go, who you're trying to be, you got to have a vision of it, and you got to see it. Can't just talk about it. Can't just think about it.
And let me say this, why that is so true. So the other day, I'm doing a flyer. And when I'm doing a flyer and I get stuck, I just stop and close my eyes. And I see it.
Mm-hmm.
I see colors.
Mm-hmm.
And, so it's so true. I'm saying that's what I have to do when I get stuck. And listen to me, you all. I'm not your fly person. That's not what I used to do. But that's what I'm willing to do and willing to learn. All I had to tell myself is, do you like to decorate? If you like to decorate, you can do a fly. Because it'll hone those skills. But absolutely, absolutely. And I close my eyes. Just say, what are you trying to see? What do you want? And once I close my eyes, and Lanita, we laugh because Lanita, I used to call her my blue, brown, tan person. Ooh, that girl decorated her house. She laid her house on so much, I'm almost jealous. But this is what she said to me. She said, now when I make choices, I hear your voice. And I used to tell her, how does it feel? And she said, if it feels good to me. Now, why do you have to know that? Because if you are on somebody else's street, then you're not going to know what feels good to you. And you're going to search for what feels good to others and never get to what feels good to you. So even when you close your eyes to envision or visualize, you have to do it from your organic self, from that person that is connected versus that is detached from yourself because of something. So I want to make sure you get that element in there too, that closing your eyes means seeing with your eyes, not other people's eyes. And that's a long walk through life. I still have to stop and say, are these my eyes I'm seeing with, or these the eyes of the world? Are these the eyes of what's expected of me? Are these the eyes that's coming from the heart of my ancestors or my abusive parent or somebody that hurt me? Am I, right now, Jill, are you making a decision from that? And I taught you on Wednesday for anybody who heard. How do I know that? Because my breathing changes. So I go and I sit in a room with nothing else going on, and I just see if my breathing is blocked. And I recognize when my breathing was blocked because it stops short instead of going all the way through. But that means I have to love myself with the patience that's required to love anybody. I got to do that for me. So what's the first thing that's changed? That's why this T-shirt says, breathe, exhale, inhale, and get in touch with the first gift that you ever received. The gift of life was breath. Mm. It wasn't flesh, it was breath. People born with flesh and not breath are dead. People born with breath and flesh, that is a living being. And so as we go through these things, and we'll continue to do this, we're going to get to that. But that's all I'm going to say. Go ahead, Mom, you Cloud. Finish and then get to them, please.
Well, basically, I just want to close this particular statement out with what Jill is saying. So when she's getting off by herself and she's closing in, going inside, she's blocking out a whole lot of stuff that would keep her from being able to see what she sees. And so how do you block it out? The only way I know, I go in prayer first and I ask God. I am a good one for asking, okay, God, now what? Now how?
Yep.
And then I wait for him to give the revelation. And I'll tell you the truth. Revelation comes when you cast your vision on him. Revelation comes. And so that would be my closing comment on that. Go in. Get in with him. Be present with him. And watch revelation come.
And remember she said this, wait. The wait is the most important part. How do you know you should wait? Check your breathing. If you're breathing fast, that means you're anxious. Be anxious for nothing. Be anxious for nothing. By prayer and petition with thanksgiving, make all your requests.
And when in that waiting, you know for yourself, everything don't come right then. You know that.
Well, but you have to get to know it, You know, Ma, and I'm saying that because I've coached a few people in waiting. And even though they know the word about waiting, they're not surrendered. They don't have the faith. They're not exercising the faith that you have to have. There's no real waiting without faith. Your flesh does not want to wait. Listen, your flesh so bad, if you have to go to the bathroom and wait, your flesh will pee on itself. That's how much your weight don't want to. That's how much your flesh said, I'm not waiting for so long. I will pee on us. And so you have to know that it really does take faith to do the kind of waiting she's talking about. But again, that's a vision of God. You cannot wait without a vision of who God is in spirit and truth. It won't happen. You'll come up with a good sounding argument as to why God spoke to you. Okay. And our minds will absolutely ask your mind a question. I bet you it'll answer it for you. Your mind say this, you hungry? Your body didn't say it. Your mind said, you hungry? And then your other mind said, what we got taste for? Your body doesn't. I have eaten things on top of being full.
Yes.
So that's how I know that sometimes I'm not listening to my body. I'm letting my mind talk for what my body is supposed to speak for. But that's a whole nother teaching. But let's get these ladies involved.
Amen. We're going to give these ladies opportunity to speak to you. And one of the first things they're going to address is about single women. Any single women in the house?
And the spirit never gets old. You better know it.
Single women over 40, never married, no children. Now, somebody says, whoop, whoop. Okay, but that's okay too. Ladies, who would like to address that in terms of having a vision, in terms of a revelation, in terms of casting off restraint? Anyone?
Right. She wanted in it.
Single women over 40, never married.
So here's a question that's going to answer that it's here in the question form.
Okay.
And this is going to say, how has your vision helped you finish?
Okay.
When the challenge to quit and take another direction came your way. And I'm asking them this because you got a woman over here, one is over 50, married, no children. One is under 40, married, no children, right? I'm sorry, both of them not married, no children. At this point, we got one that's Angela, who had to be a single mom, then got married, and she'll tell you the story. I think it's a wonderful story, and I'm glad she's honest. She'll be honest with you in terms of just how life happened to her. And then she took her life back from the world, and that didn't satisfy everybody. So how did your visualizing something help you in this situation? Anybody?
I'll start. I'm Angela. I am a divorced woman and single mother.
These are your questions.
For me, I have always been pregnant with a promise, and I knew that. And just having my own faith and knowing what I wanted in life, I've always been pregnant with a promise. And so many of you may know the name Miss Vicious. And I turned a negative word into a positive one, and it stands for virtuous, intelligent, confident, inspiring, outspoken, unique sister. And that came from a place where I didn't know where I was going, what I was going to do, but that was a part of the promise. I knew I was called to women. I knew I wanted to speak to women. I knew I wanted to speak to the youth. And I said, God, what do you want me to do? Many challenges came, but I always stood on the promise and the direction. So it's an ongoing journey for me, but I hold on to the vision. I surround myself with many women who are like-minded, who not necessarily have the same vision, but who can speak truth to me. I'm a woman of truth. You have to speak truth to me. That's my take on it, if that answers.
And I want you all, when you all get to hear what she's saying. When she's talking about vision, you're talking about, if I took what you said and kind of summarized it, it is how she sees her future. Your vision is how do you see your future? See, if you saw your future, say, listen, you don't have to always have a name for the exact words for all of what you're going to do. And I'll talk about that. And I shared that a vision comes in one piece, but a vision, you'll see that in one piece, but the fulfillment is in parts. Mm-hmm. And if you have that vision, then your vision, right, it will tell you what not to do. Because you won't be out there trying to deal with a group of people that is not in your heart to deal with, because somewhere along the line, you allowed yourself to hear a voice and not demand a revelation. I'm saying that, Angela, because that's what people do. Because we get greedy for success. And greed, there's all kinds of greed. Greed just means you want more and more and more. It probably means you can't wait. And so what happens is you run out there and then try to do something before the Lord's time, before you're ready. And then you find yourself in something that once you really get a clearer vision, as it gets clearer along the way, now you obligated to something that ain't working for you. And it's hard to get away from it. And so if you understand that vision is, how do you see your future? Now keep it in line. How do you see your future from God's standpoint? You didn't talk about cars. You didn't talk about shoes. You didn't mention clothes. You didn't mention a house. You noticed that. It was how you were going to exhale. Breath to breath. How am I going to send this breath back out there? This breath of life that came to me, how am I going to send this life back out there to others? And that's what I heard in what she was saying. But somebody else, the vision. How does a vision, whatever your vision was, help you? Go ahead.
So I'll say I'm in a space where my old vision, like I used to have this, I used to always say, by the time I'm 25, I'm going to be married with 2 kids. You could not tell me, and that was where my future stopped when I was younger. So once I hit 25 and I was not married and I did not have children, my mindset had to switch. And even now I'm in a place where my vision used to be a destination, like this thing that I was trying to get to. Now my vision is more internal. Like I'm recognizing, God, you can use me anywhere at any given time, no matter what population I'm serving, no matter what room I'm in. Mm-hmm. But my character are the things now when I'm envisioning, like who I want to be in the future that I'm working towards. When you was going back to learning to be more honest with myself, that is one of my biggest struggles. I'm always looking outward. What you gonna think? What you might say? If I do this, what you gonna do? That's a struggle that I'm going through right now. So when I think of my vision, I'm thinking of being more honest with myself, being more in terms of knowing how I feel about different things. In any relationship, whether it's romantic relationships, whether it's friendships, learning to be more discerning. Like, what do I need to say in this moment? What do I need to be doing in this moment? What do I need to not be doing in this moment? So at this moment, I don't have, this is what I want to do. Sometimes I feel like I'm all over the place. And then I have to say, the reality of it is, God, no matter where I am at any moment, do you. Like, show up, whether it's in a meeting, whether it's in a small group, whether I'm by myself, show up and do you, and just let me flow with that and go along with that. So.
Great. Go ahead, Gail. Mm-hmm.
Before you go there, Gail, I wanted to comment on the last statement. One of the things she said, she surrounds herself with like-minded people. Mm-hmm. And I think we a lot of times think we're doing that. And we're instead surrounding ourselves with people that's going to say okay to us.
Right, agreeing with you.
It's going to agree with us. It's not going to challenge you in what you're thinking and what you're planning and the goals that you're stating. So we have to recognize we love the people around us, but at the same time, we need to know that even though they're like-minded, they may not giving us the feedback